but we are joined right now by a tackle for the Green Bay Packers. He is entering his 11th season in the NFL. He is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He is a 5-time All-Pro. The Packers are going to play their second preseason game Saturday when they host the Patriots. They open up the regular season at home against the Bears on September 10th. We are joined right now by Packer David Bakhtiari. David, it is really nice to have you on the program. David, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing well, Jim. Thanks for having me on.
Really good to have you on. So why don't we start first with your personal outlook? I think as many people know, you've dealt with so much adversity with the 3 knee surgeries in a span of 18 months. You missed the 6 games last year. Bring me up to date physically. How you feeling right now heading into the season?
I mean, yeah, doing in a lot better spot than I was the past about 2 seasons. So very promising and definitely excited. Excited finally, to have that in my rearview mirror, so to speak, and being able to kind of look on as I enter my 11th year.
David, what's it like? I mean, for instance, it's not just the knee surgeries. Let's go ahead and mix in the appendectomy as well. So you had 4 procedures. Like, when you've got a process, you've got a way of doing things, and you know you're not right, but you kind of drag yourself onto the field, and you know you can't do what you're capable of doing, what's that like?
I mean, it's a great question. It's not fun. In the essence of your ability to do what you normally can do, you need to find a way. And at the end of the day, you want to be there for your team, you want to be there for your organization, and you want to play your kind of brand of football. Now you have to get creative at times, and I've done that over the course of my 10 years, entering my 11th year. And each one proposed a different challenge. So I mean, obviously, with the appendectomy, having I think that's like 4 surgeries in like 20 months. Being put under just sucks in general, and then coming out of it and then getting yourself ready. But also, if anyone who has had an appendectomy, the pain you have in your core, that's not really easy. I probably didn't stop feeling pain in my abdomen till about April. So right around OTAs is when I finally stopped feeling any pull or pain, which is crazy. But I mean, you have to do what you have to do in season.
I mean, that is crazy, especially when you do what you do for a living. As an example, and I'm not comparing this to that, but I understand pain in the core. I've told my listeners I had double hernia surgery, and dude, that was so weird. I mean, I never knew, not that I'm like the strongest guy in the core, but it's awfully weird not to be able to get out of bed, right? Like, you have to teach yourself how to get out of bed, that it takes 20 minutes to just get out of bed. You never know how important the core is until you don't have the core.
100%, and I will say, I ended up getting sick, because it was, around the cold season, being in December when it happened. I would borderline almost want to cry because I knew I was about to sneeze, and sneezing, I can't stop myself from fully tightening up, and that hurt so bad.
Dude, terrible. David Bakhtiari joining us. You mentioned December. All right, so you grew up in Northern California. I'm a Southern California guy, and you mentioned December. I'm kind of playing with this notion of going back to Wisconsin in December. I've never done that before. Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
It depends on what you consider a bad idea.
Right. Probably the same things you do. I don't know. They keep telling me, hey man, just do it. Just do it. There's snowmobiling and I'm like, and what? And what else? Ice fishing. And what else? Drinking. And what else? Pretty much that.
Yeah.
Well, I like one of those things. The last thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's about it. I'm not going to sit here and oversell the weather out here in Wisconsin. I mean, it gets cold and it snows, and there's not a whole lot. I mean, you get to hunker down, you get some beautiful snow days if you can appreciate snowfall. But I mean, there's no mountains you can ski on them. And in the point in December, even if we did, it's not like I would even want to.
You and I are coming from the same place. I'm led to believe that there is a small mountain not far from where we are in the Northwoods, but I don't know if that's true. David Bakhtiari joining us. All right, so one thing. So you feel like you're saying you feel as good now as you've felt in quite some time. I know the team has been very careful about how they use you on the practice field. Folks around there have taken to calling you the Lamborghini, which to me is awesome. For those who do not get the reference, why are they calling you that?
I can't take full credit. It came from Chad Clifton, the old left tackle. It pretty much just means you just pull out the car once a week. When you have a nice car like a Lamborghini, you pull it out, you turn the engine on, you take it on a nice drive on Sunday. You get to use it and have all your fun with it, and then you put it back in the garage and let it sit for the week. You never want to put too many miles or too much wear on the Lamborghini, and that's kind of what's been on my horizon. I'm not going to say it's not the greatest thing, but I have to just accept, that's where I am and what we have to do to be at our best and for me to be at my best on Sunday. So, I'm making the most of the situation.
No, I get that. Listen, you'd rather be out there with the fellas, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being that low mileage exotic. Most of the guys I know, rich guys that have Ferraris or Lambos, they have like 7,000 miles on them total because they only break them out on the weekends. So I know, obviously, you and Aaron Rodgers are so tight. I know you also got a lot of mileage out of cracking on, quote, Grandpa Aaron while he was there. But, dude, what's it like for you to now be the old head on offense?
I probably never thought that this would happen. Just because, Aaron being here, I was like, there's no way I'm going to outlast him. One, that's a quarterback. I play offensive line. Two, he's never going to leave here. And eventually, the Father Time is undefeated in the NFL, so he'll come for me before him. To see him still playing and having me still be in Green Bay, it's wild concept for me. I still try and be hip and cool, with the guys in the locker room, keep my ear to the streets and understand, the type of music and lingo that they're using. And it's just, for me, I think the craziest thing is, guys calling me OG. That, for me, I still have a hard time accepting just because I don't feel like old. I still feel like kind of youthful, but to them, when I tell them when I first year I started playing, they always get kind of wide-eyed, and I'm like, well, yeah, I have been around quite a while.
Dude, if you're an OG at 31, what does that make me at 58? Like, I'm in the ground. I've been in the ground 20 years already, man.
The OG's OG.
That's funny. So if your point was, how can this be? I never thought that I would see the day this would happen. I don't think anybody ever thought they'd see the day that Aaron Rodgers would put on somebody's uniform other than a Green Bay Packer uniform. But because you guys are so close, when that became a reality, what did you think? How did you process him moving on?
I'm nothing but happy for him because – clearly this is something that, he wanted to do. He seems really happy. The times I've talked to him, kind of a little bit of like rejuvenated. And, I think it's a fairy tale thought of having, your franchise quarterback playing in one jersey their entire career and then, hanging it up. But, it happens all the time. At the end of the day, this is a game, and we have the nostalgia and love for the game, but it always is a business too. So business needs to be done on both ends, and you're seeing that side of it, and that's another way I can describe it other than that.
No, I think you're right. Nostalgia is so big. Nostalgia is so big. You think about parents and them passing the sport on to their kids and people who play the game. But at the end of the day, it's a business. Business is business. It's business first. So before I let you go, let me ask you, what about Jordan Love? He finally gets his shot after being an understudy for 3 years, but it's his first year starting. So how do you view him? Do you view him as a first-year quarterback, or are you going to hold him to a higher standard than that?
Definitely higher standard. He's had 3 years to understand and master the offense, which is very fortunate for any first-round quarterback. Get to watch and see how a first-ballot Hall of Famer and generational talent and a guy who borderline changed the quarterback position and how it's played and even the mechanics of even throwing the football. You were able to see that for 3 years and then now coming in. So, his baseline for me is way higher. And you know what? I've been very pleased with what I've seen with him. And, I think he's also understanding that he's not going to be judged either by a first-year quarterback, which is great. And I think he's going to be competitive right out the gate. And I'm excited to see, because I've seen his development in practice, I'm really excited to see it translate into the game and him to get those game time and hours logged in and really see how he adapts and corrects himself mid-game and game-to-game.
So specifically, what have you seen from him that has impressed you the most?
I think, for me, his ability to understand, work in and out of the offense, manipulate multiple things, because it's not as simple as just playing quarterback, taking the ball from under center and throwing it to a player or handing it off. There's a lot of little nuances, a lot of pre-snap reads. There's also certain checks. There's abilities to, work cadences and snap counts, a lot of things that I've seen Aaron do at a very high level. And seeing him, I remember when he first got in, and at times when I would lightly work with him, seeing that growth from his rookie year to now, is exponential. And that's why I'm excited to see him go and execute that in a game, because there's so many little things I think that the fans don't get to really see or notice that happen in the game within the game, so to speak. And that's what I'm really excited for him, and that's why I definitely don't view him as a first-year quarterback, because he has those kind of hours and reps and seen that underneath his belt, though not as much in a game, but in the practice setting that I'm excited for him to use in a game setting. And then not to mention, I mean, he can throw the ball and do a lot of things that I've been impressed with, but you also have to understand I was watching Aaron every day for a decade, so he would make one, jaw-dropping throw at least every practice. Like, that's just, it's hard to come off of that, but I'm very pleased with what I've been able to see with him, and at times I'm like, okay, that is a quality throw. That's a quality check. That's a good job, man. I'm pumped by what I see.
David Bakhtiari joining us. I appreciate that response. Hey, listen, one last thought about Aaron. I appreciate how patient you've been with all this. Because I host a national talk show, because I spend a lot of time in Wisconsin, in the summertime, I engage with a lot of Packer fans. And, David, you help me with this. Fans are fans, right? They're going to be emotional no matter what. A lot of Packer fans just are really unhappy with Aaron. Do you understand why they might feel that way? Or instead of hating on this guy, should they be thanking this guy for being one of the all-time great players?
I mean, I think it's tough. Like, I think a fan holds on to the nostalgia. That's why I think they become fans. And I think that you love the fairy tales. And like I said, it's still a business at the end of the day. And I think Aaron was, he never really cared to defend himself as much. And then later on, he started talking a little more in the media. But he was I think from a player, he was going to speak his mind towards the end, and I appreciated any view that he had, even if it wasn't the popular view. And I think from that, people kind of got worn out. People kind of got worn out from how he acted and that. And, I know that the fans are always going to come around to him, and they should. The guy changed the game, Hall of Fame quarterback, won you a Super Bowl, stayed loyal to the Packers for so long. I mean, at this point, every breakup's tough. And I think right now you're going through the breakup process, and once the scar heals, you're going to be totally happy about it and glad that you went through that relationship. I think that's how I would correlate it. It's one of those relationships that the breakup hurts, but you're going to be best friends after.
I think you nailed it. I think there's still, Aaron's not. I think the Packer fan is still checking the ex's social and they should just let it go. I think ultimately it's going to be fine. Like, I love Aaron. I've always loved Aaron. I think the fans will miss him more than they think. I think Aaron's going to miss you, dude. I think he would say that. Let me ask you one last thing, man. You've been so awesome with your time. You and I have one more thing in common. Not only our Wisconsin roots, our California roots, but my wife and I are dropping our younger son off in Boulder next week to be a buff. Dude, is that a good decision? And what do I need to know before I leave that kid there?
Couple things. One, he's going to have a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time there. It is beautiful. 2, take advantage of all the hikes. Make sure to go check out the Flatirons. 3, Pearl Street's a lot of fun. When you go visit, there's great restaurants down there. It's a good vibe. 4, you got to hit Cosmos Pizza and get the spicy ranch. Like, that is a total must-hit. At least anytime I go back there. And then obviously the buff. I think anyone that talks about breakfast, the buff is solid.
Love it. Love the advice. He is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He is a 5-time All-Pro. David Bakhtiari, my guest. Dude, I appreciate you so much. What a great conversation, David. Thank you very much. Great to have you back on.
Yeah, Jim, I appreciate it, man. You take care. Always good to hear from you.
You too, dude. You're the best. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And hit the bell to be the first to know when we do upload a new video.